In this video, we're going to walk you through the process of actually buying your own domain. So the first question you probably have is, well, where do I go to buy a domain?
The answer is that there are all sorts of places that you could buy a domain name online, but I'm going to recommend just one, and that's Google Domains. The reason I recommend Google instead of something like GoDaddy or Namecheap.com or any of the others is that I've never seen another domain name registrar, and that's what they're called, that doesn't try to sell you stuff during the process. And also, I tend to trust Google when it comes to the internet. So I, at one point, migrated all of my domain names to Google Domains because it helps me to keep them organized and everything in one place. And as we'll talk about later, Google Domains includes a lot of free stuff that other people charge for.
Great, so let's go to Google Domains.
Yep, so we'll walk you through the process of actually registering a domain name. We chose a domain name, blogchampions.com, because it's kind of along our blog winners theme. But we're also going to show you what happens when you try to register a domain name and it's already taken. So let's go ahead. The first thing we'll do is go to google.com, and I'm just going to search for Google Domains. Sure enough, comes up right at the top. I'll go to Google Domains, and it says, find a domain, create a site, get custom email. So I'm going to search for blogchampions.com.
You spelled it wrong.
I sure did. So blogchampions.com is available. Make sure you spell your domain name right, or otherwise you're going to get in trouble. Nobody's going to be able to find it. So let me just correct this to blogchampions.com, and that's also available. .coms, .orgs typically are $12 a year. There are examples of premium domain names that you'll see that are more money. And the reason they charge more for premium domain names is that usually it's a very short domain name with very common words. And if they didn't charge a lot of money, people would just buy them up just to have them. It's kind of like real estate.
So how would we know, for example, if the domain name was not available?
Right. And in the last chapter of our course, we talked about how to find a domain name that's right for you, and you probably picked one out. And if you're like us, there's a good chance that that domain name is not available. So one of the first ones that we thought of was blogchamps.com. So let's type that in, champs.com. And we get the little gray frowny face on the left-hand side of Blog Champs, which indicates that it's already registered. Now, Google Domains will go and recommend other domain names where it may be available. .co.net, blogchamps.boutique for $30 a year. And like we talked about in the last video, these are all different top-level domains, or TLDs. The .company, .solutions, .zone are all new ones. So really, if your domain name is taken, you have two ways to go. The first way is that you can say, all right, the .com is taken, but I'm going to try a different TLD that works for me. Now, if you click the All Endings button, which is currently in gray, Google Domains is going to come up with a list of all the TLDs that they offer, which is blogchamps.centered, blogchamps.chat. Maybe one of these works for you. And if you find one that you really like, by all means, go for it. Remember that we're trying to find a domain name that has specific relevance for you and that's going to be memorable. So sometimes shorter is better with domain names, and a new TLD may be the way to go. However, you can just keep doing Google searches until you find one if you really want a .com, and that's sort of what we did. We tried other ones. Instead of Blog Champs, we tried blogchampion.com maybe. Also taken, but blogchampions.com we found was not. So for this video, let's go ahead and register blogchampions.com.
So how do you register?
Well, Google Domains makes it easy. We're just going to click the cart with the plus sign on the right-hand side. It adds to the cart, and we're going to proceed to the checkout. Now, with Google Domains, just like everything Google, you have to sign in with your Google account. If you don't have one, you can just click the Create Account. If you have a Gmail account, that's what you should use here. It just keeps everything together. So we created a Gmail account, which is blogwinning@gmail.com. And I'll paste in the password. And now we get redirected back to the checkout page. I think I'll let Google save this password. Now it wants us to enter our contact information. So there are different ramifications for the information you enter here than you may be used to when you check out on other websites. By default, the information you enter here may be publicly available on the internet using what is called a Whois search. And other companies charge to make that information private. One of the main reasons I love Google Domains is that they'll allow you to make that information private for free. So that is really one of the main reasons that I switched to Google Domains. So let's just enter our information. I'll say my name, And I'm going to choose make my info private. And then I'll come down to the bottom and say continue. Now I need to enter my credit card. And we'll click buy. Google does its job, registers the domain name, and it's going to offer us some options as soon as it's done and like build a website, set up email. At this juncture, I would like to recommend that we don't do anything else because we're going to walk you through the whole rest of the process.
Yeah, we're going to go through hosting in the next series of videos.
Absolutely. So at this point, we're going to need to verify our email address. Let's go do that right now.
Let's verify it.
Yeah, so I'm going to just log into my Gmail account. Say, thank you, you've made a purchase. Required, please verify. Verify my email address. All right, we're verified. So now we have a domain name that is set up, and we're going to be able to use it to accomplish all of the rest of the steps in this chapter.